Okay, so I guess I'm live. Okay, so I wanted to create this video. I didn't want to do it live. I don't know if anybody's going to watch. I can't see the screen if you're chatting or anything like that. However, if you have questions, you've come across this video. I only have a few followers, but um, I'll try to make some shorts and stuff like that. But if you do have questions, leave them below, and maybe one day I can do a live while I know people are going to be there, but I don't mind answering questions. I went to boot camp in 1998. I was a Canadian. I had got my green card, and I thought it would be a good way to say thanks for letting me into the country. I didn't really know anything about, you know, the different services. Like I knew the basics, but you just see the Marines, and they were always badass, and they had the nicest uniforms, and they just seemed like the best warriors. Without having a clearance because I wasn't a citizen, there wasn't a lot of really great opportunities for me in the Air Force. Anyway, like I'm colorblind, so I couldn't like fly or anything like that. So all the cool jobs I couldn't really do. So I went in open contract. I would suggest not doing that. That's not on my list of things, but I would not go in open contract unless you really don't care. They're going to place you in something based on your aptitude. I was hoping to get more grunt sort of Alec, and I just all I said was because this is the way I looked at it. Go, just put me where you need me. Um, I'm fit. I'm smart. I scored really high on the ASVAB. I don't remember what the scores are and how it all works, but I basically could have any job that I wanted, barring needing a security clearance to be a citizen, right? And my color blindness. So I wanted counter intel. I couldn't get that till I was a citizen. Blah 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 blah. So um, I'll tell you a little bit more about my experience. But anyway, don't go on open contract unless you really don't care. But like use this opportunity to find a job that will transfer into the outside world. A lot of your training will, you can make something out of whatever training you have, I'm sure. If you have a personality that's outgoing, you can like be a trainer. But there's a lot of jobs that transfer into the outside world. So pick one that interests you, that like, if you want to work on airframes or whatever it is, like a mechanic, um, something interesting, it doesn't have to be all war. So use your time wisely because they're going to use you. You know. So anyway, preparing for Marine Corps boot camp. It's just a 10-step guide, and I'll ad lib things. I'm sure a lot. I'll try to keep it short, but it won't be because I'm not good this way. So the first thing is this is all about getting in the right mindset and getting in the right body set. So it's going to be a shock either way. I was 26 when I joined, so I was already kind of disciplined. I already had I'd already been working in the real world for a while. I'd never gone to college. Well, I'd gone to community college, but I'd never gone to at the time I had not gone to university. Um, but I had a lot of life experience. So I wasn't as easily intimidated by the drill instructors and stuff. I kinda understood things were the way they were, but I did hear some tips that came true, so I thought it's kinda nice, to have a little knowledge, right? Knowledge is power, so you're not going in there all like, "Oh, what's going on?" So the first thing is that you need to learn to read and write. I'm sure everybody out there can do it to a certain level, but you really need to be able to comprehend information. You need to be able to be a good communicator, effective communicator. Just work on that, how you speak to people. I'm a lot worse than I used to be. I don't do it nearly. I used to do it every day. I was an instructor, and every day I would be talking to a class, and then we'd be out in the field doing exercises, whatever. And you're just always talking. And now I work at home alone, and for the most part, and I don't really talk to people much. So my skills have diminished. So it's something you need to work on, and it will be noticed because you'll around the enlisted people, you'll be around a certain class, and this is just the truth. And then when you're around officers and stuff, that's an elevated class of people. It's not untrue. It's generally speaking, but yeah, there's exceptions to the course. There's really, educated people in the enlisted side too, but it's just on a different level. Um, so the way you talk, the words you use, if you want to be an effective communicator and want to get promoted, don't be talking like a numbskull. So learn to read, learn to comprehend, because you're going to have books, and the Marine Corps it's literally the easiest job in the world to succeed. They spell it out for you. Everything is written out in Marine Corps orders. So you can read a Marine Corps order. You can protect yourself with having knowledge, because some will say, oh, you can't do that. So actually, according to the Marine Corps order, I can blah, 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 blah. I did it all the time. So you'll have time to learn that stuff. Don't waste your time on your phone and your freaking video games. Make the most of that time. It's a different world now. We didn't have all the distractions that you guys have. We had video games, but I wasn't really big into them. So the faster you can comprehend information that's given to you and then effectively perform that task or do whatever, the better leader you're going to be. People will notice that you'll get promoted faster. So if that's something you struggle with, just work on it. Don't be afraid to go and ask for help. It won't take that long before you're mastering it. We had a staff sergeant before he joined recon. He couldn't swim, and he never swam. We did. I don't even know how he got through boot camp, honestly, because you have to swim a little bit in boot camp, but it's nothing like we used to swim. And if you're going to swim recon, you got to swim. You got to be a really good swimmer. And he would just sink and sink and sink, but he worked at it, and eventually, became a very effective swimmer. Not the best swimmer in the world, but an effective enough swimmer where he could be recon. So he got his scuba and all that. So just because you can right now, take the time in the privacy of your own home to become better at communicating, reading, and writing. I think that would be one of the number one things, especially if you haven't taken ASVAB yet or anything like that. Do that, because why do it in front of other people? Why, you don't understand something because you couldn't really comprehend what was written down. You could read it, but you maybe didn't understand some words, or you can say them, but you don't know what they are. So just don't be afraid to get better. Okay. And don't get mad at people because you're not good at something. There's lots of people that will help you. Don't project your insecurity, because if you can't read or write well, you're probably a little insecure about that. So don't be like that. No reason. There's good people out there. Okay, physical. Some people think, oh, this should be number one, but really it's not number one. Mental's number one, but these aren't really in a specific, I just want to cover some basic points. You should be able to run 3 miles without too much trouble. I think when I was for a perfect 3-mile run was 17 minutes. Best I ever did was like 18:01. And I knew there was some more in me. I hate running. I really did. So I wasn't a big fan of running, but I took, I always wanted my first class PFT. So, you have to do your pull-ups and then your sit-ups. And they do it a little bit different now, but you find out what, if you've already signed up, then your recruiter's already told you what's going on, and you need to work on that. The thing in boot camp is you don't want to be singled out for sucking, right? That's embarrassing, and you're supposed to be getting ready for the Marines. Plus, if you're really good at PT, life is easier for you. All right. If you're not a fat body that's holding everybody up, or you're just slow as fuck, you suck, and it brings everybody down. There's competition between platoons. There's like, you've got initial PFT, final PFT, drill, marksmanship. I can't remember what else there is. I think we won everything. We were on our platoon. We had a pretty squared away DI. All the DIs are squared away, but one of them got canned. That's another story. So, you'll have a lot of stories, that's for sure. So just be ready to knock out sit-ups to get like, go for first class PFT. You don't have to get like a 300 if they do 300 now, but you should be able to get in like a 70, 80 percentile. There's no reason not to. If you can't, then don't join. If you're not willing to put in that's a minimal effort. And what happens is a lot of people get to boot camp, they become the best version of themselves physically and mentally, and then they get in the fleet and they go to some freaking slack job where, it's just a pogue job and they're in the office, and the guy running the show is, not really into running. So there's no one to maintain standards, and everyone kind of just looks like shit in their uniform. And if that's what you want, then why the fuck are you joining? Don't be like that. Like, fucking look squared away, have good knowledge, have good fitness. You should look good in the uniform. I mean, they shouldn't have uniforms that fit fat people, but they do. But don't be like that. Be better for yourself. You'll be healthier. People won't uh, fat Marines, fuck that. It's open season. You're a Marine. We always just go to town on some fucking fat ass who'd be going through the unit. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Do you have a medical shit? Like, do you have a medical reason you look like that? Because you can't get out of boot camp looking like that. And don't be that person. If you're not willing to put in the effort, then don't join. You're wasting everyone's time because you're the one that we have to fucking babysit. I fucking hate babysitting, and everyone hates babysitting adults. And that's why I got out, because I was so sick and tired of it. There's a lot of, people that get suckered into it for a paycheck, and that's all they're doing it for. So anyway, I have opinions. Bring something good to the table when you go in. Don't be just this blank slate that they got to fucking fix. It's kind of ridiculous. Some people, they got to teach hygiene. They smell so bad. They don't shower because they get these people out of the woods. It's insane, the stories and what I've witnessed personally, and the shit I've had to do. If it's just bullshit. And then, so just, and if you do all that and you prepare properly, again, you don't have to come in first, but you have to give forth a good effort. You should challenge yourself. If you're not willing to challenge yourself in a PFT, then which you only do like once, twice a year, but you should train for it, habitually. Don't join. So be physically fit and be ready. And let's see, like swimming. If you can't swim, work on your swimming. You don't have to be an excellent swimmer, but you need to not. You shouldn't be a person who panics in the pool. If you get wet and get water in your face, you got to get comfortable. And my biggest, it's not a trick, but a lot of people, like, they they kind of panic if they're not comfortable in the water. And all you got to do is just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, hold that breath, and kind of tilt your head back. So if this is your legs and this is your head and you tilt it back, you kind of go like this, and your lungs are full of oxygen, and you just relax. And you can tread for 30 seconds. If you just learn to hold your breath, fucking take a bath and put your head underwater, find a pool, put your head underwater, get good lungs. And especially if the pool is challenging for you, I don't know what they do anymore. I can't remember. It wasn't hard for me. I was always a pretty good swimmer. So, but yeah, that's important. Some people, boom, boot camp's over because they can't get past the pool. So if that's a challenge for you, be prepared for that. These are things your recruiter should talk to you about, but my recruiter didn't say shit to me. I called my recruiter. I wasn't recruited. And I honestly, when I called, I thought, man, I was lucky to get through. I thought everyone would be calling to be a Marine. I had no idea about recruiting, stuff like that. I had no idea, because in Canada, they don't do it like here. Maybe they do now. I don't know. But you would just have to go down to the office, and it would be an effort to find somebody ever. Because we're not national offense, right? So I honestly thought it would be like, oh, I'm lucky to get through. Then I was supposed to leave in October. Just a side note, if you're, and then he offered me a $3,000 bonus if I would leave in May. I'm like, fuck yeah, I can leave in May. Like, I didn't have anything going on. I just thought, oh, hang out for a while and, enjoy life. I worked at a tennis place. So just playing tennis for a living. And yeah, so then I got there and I thank God I had that paperwork because that guy tried to lie and say they didn't offer it to me. I said, I got it right here in writing. And get everything in writing. Get everything in writing. That should be the number one thing. Get everything in writing. Any promises, get it in writing. They misled me, and there was no reason to mislead me. And I'll get into some other things maybe some other time because there's just so many. But recruiters they're about numbers. They're there not for the Marine Corps. Some are. Most of them are there for themselves because you have to do a B billet to get promoted. You want to get to gunny. A lot of those guys are staff sergeants or sergeants, right? You'll see people with lower rank and they're just helping out getting points because you can get recruiter helper points. Those are the points I never went and got. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to fucking sucker anybody doing this shit. Unless they want to. So if they want to, they'll fucking call. Otherwise, I don't want to. I'm not a salesman. And so I don't do that shit. And you can get like 11 days of boot leave or leave or something like that. So you get like free leave. You're at home and you're just going to help the recruiters. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And that's easy points to get that goes towards promotion. And the people, the recruiter, the main person, whoever's running the office, they're getting promotion points towards gunny. So you're doing a B billet, and most likely the options are be a recruiter or go be a drill instructor. Most people, a lot of people pick recruiter, right? Because it's easier, except for the pressure to get numbers and things like that. So anyway, other stories, things you don't need to know about before you're going in. And if you're going in, you have to be in that mindset. So just be in that mindset, get your physical up. Yeah, I think I covered everything there. So I'm on my number 3. Organize your personal affairs. Ensure all legal documents, wills, power of attorney are finalized, notarized. You probably don't have a lot. Most people who go don't really have that kind of stuff, but maybe you do. Maybe you're joining later in life, like I did. I joined when I was 26, but I didn't come to the country with a lot. I came with cash, and so I didn't have a lot of that either after a while. So I moved to Scottsdale. Then automate your bills. You can do that. So you got to make sure you have enough. I don't know how long it takes for pay to kick in and all that stuff anymore. That's something you talk to your recruiter about. Say, hey, when I went there, they automatically set up an account for you at Marine Corps West, which was a joke. And so it just it was hard to access money. I still have the check they gave me my refund. It was like 1999 or something. They sent me a refund for a nickel, and they sent that envelope to Okinawa from here or from San Diego. So that was what a waste of money. So then, okay, so you got your automate your bills. If you have medications, just make sure you got all that squared away. I guess right now they don't allow cell phones. Like, you get it there, but it'll be secured for the 13 weeks. So I think I have this on another thing, but I would just make write down everyone's phone number and address, because that's how you're going to communicate. If you choose to do so, is writing letters, and that's how they're going to communicate with you. They'll give you a postcard to send to whoever with the address for the for boot camp, wherever you're, Paris Island or San Diego. I went to San Diego, and I didn't know the difference, but it just depends where you live. But I'm glad I went to San Diego, because Paris Island I guess it kind of sucks there. And it was like kind of shitty to be in San Diego, because every day you're right there at the airport. So you're seeing planes just taking off all the time. You can see houses, so you can see freedom. But anyway, so the organize your personal affairs. Then we got discipline routine. So start creating a routine. If you don't have a routine, then nothing's going to work out. And you'll realize you get so much done when you have a routine. Especially, well, you'll see. you'll accomplish so much, and you'll be like, man, and you just won't have time to think, and you have downtime, you're cleaning or whatever like that. But start waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If that's tough for you, do it once in a while. Like just start getting used to that. If it's a tough thing, it's not really, it's just getting up, right? You got to get up. Maintain a clean living space. You're going to be inspected a lot for cleanliness. So, like, if you've got bad hygiene, figure that shit out. Go buy a box of Q-tips, clean your ears, scrub your sack, and just like learn to clean your body. I would not shave my body before going, but I would definitely trim that shit. Because when you're going to be in the field and, you're going to be nasty. Um, Excuse me one moment. Laptop's going dead. So, yeah, you gotta, and again, shave your head the night before. Not girls, but you could do that too. You could be GI Jane in it. Um, Learn to like clean your shoes, organize your clothes, fold a proper way. I could give a class on that someday or something. I still got my inspection stuff in Ziploc bags. I'd always have my inspection stuff just in these Ziploc bags. And every time, oh, we're having inspection, boom, it's already ready. I never had to redo anything. And because you got to stencil your name on this stuff, and it's a lot of work, and it has to be perfect. I think underwear is 4x4, and then t-shirts are 6x4, and then you got your socks folded a certain way. Sometimes your commanding officer might change things up a little bit, how they want to present it on the thing, and then you've got your regular your uniforms, your Bravos, your Charlies, all that stuff that you got to display, your shoes. So just start thinking in that mindset, like, hey, learn to keep your socks in order, your underwear in order, your t-shirts in order, like items together. Get rid of shit you don't need. Serviceable. If you got holes in your underwear, throw that shit out. Definitely don't be wearing shitty underwear when you go there. They're going to give you tidy whities. They're going to take all your clothes away when I'll talk about that later. So, but just get in that mindset of waking up early, creating a routine, and being clean. And so it's not like, especially if it's something you have trouble with. And another thing, you can change, you can be better, because it is better to be clean and organized. And if you don't like that, if you don't think that's something you can do, then you don't join the Marines. I hate shitbirds, and good Marines hate shitbirds. Shitbirds don't give a shit. They flock together. Okay, I told you about compiling your contact info. Your cell phones will not be accessible. So that information is vital if you want to communicate. Because how many numbers do you know, right? So, number 6, purpose-driven mindset. This is like when you go to the range, they're going to talk about positive mental attitude, and this is really the same thing. You listen to your instructions. You apply those instructions, and over time you see how it all works. I didn't know how to shoot at all. I grew up in Canada. I think maybe I touched a gun once. I was afraid of guns. I wasn't like anti-gun. I was just not familiar with guns. Guns kill people, and so I was afraid of them until I learned about them, and then I'm like, okay, I'm just afraid of the people. So I'm definitely not anti-gun. I became NRA certified, like for the home. Then fired and became proficient in a bunch of weapons. So, yeah, like, and the whole time is positive mental attitude, and you have your bone structure, like the way your bone support when you're, however you're shooting, prone, kneeling, whatever you're doing, and you just, your goal is, if you're shooting, is to hit center mass, right? So you're breathing, everything is just coming together, your bone support, you're breathing, and you just really kind of don't even want to feel an effort, and then you find your natural breath, and then you pop. And I'd never shot, I wasn't a shooter, and I got expert because I listened. It's very good training, and they're not crazy. They don't, those guys, they still wear the DI hat, but they're there to teach you how to shoot, and they're not there to freak the shit out of you. So that's more of a low key. You don't want people freaking stressed out when they're carrying loaded weapons, right? So, but create that, like when you're going to go work out, like, hey, I want to take care of my body. I'm going to feed my body better. I'm going to drink better. I'm going to, like, water. I'm gonna put, you're not gonna be able to put shit in your body during boot camp unless you're really skinny. They'll give you a double wrap, but most people will be regular rats or half rats, half rations, because they're fat or whatever. And you won't be eating. You won't have access to like sugary drinks, things like that. You shouldn't. I mean, depends on your platoon. So, just think of your body as a machine. The better you fuel it, the better it'll work. The better you stretch when you're doing your stretch, the more purposeful you do every exercise, being mindful, the movements, whatever you're doing, push-ups, or if you're doing combat, whatever it is, just think about it. Engage the core when you're doing a sit-up. Think of just think about everything. Don't just half-ass it and get through it, and get better. And it'll be hard at first, but there's a lot of things, especially if you're not good at pull-ups. Go on YouTube. There's tons of programs out there. The best one I would suggest, if you're really bad, is you got a bar or something to hang on. Hang on it for a while. Just hang as much as you can, and then get a chair. Put something up there where you get up to the bar, and then you lower yourself as slow as possible. Do that a bunch for days and days a week. Next thing you know, you'll be pulling yourself up, and it's that. But that resistance, and time under tension is gonna give you, make you awesome at pull-ups. There's guys doing 60 pull-ups, and even more now, without kipping. No swinging and none of that CrossFit kind of weird stuff. So anyway, next thing is memorize the basics. Okay, so if you want to go in there and not be too stressed out, there's the general orders, there's the rank. They ask for rank for Navy and Marine Corps, so like learn all the rank, enlisted and officers. Learn the general orders, and that would make your life really easy. They're going to give you this book of knowledge. Your recruiter should have gave you something before you left. I had a little something, so I had a little knowledge before I left. So the memorization, but you're going to be doing tests a lot. There'll be like prep tests, but eventually you're doing like a real test where you kind of go through this gauntlet of knowledge. And so the knowledge is really important. So learn a little bit about the history of the Marine Corps, birthplace, birth date, Chesty Puller, learn the names, Joe Foss. There's just a lot of history that you got to know, traditions, Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. There's a different one for an officer. It doesn't have cube on it because apparently they didn't participate. So there's all these little things. You don't have to know that. That's, again, a little too much. And actually, I could probably do a video sometime and share my green book. So for the people who are going to boot camp, I can bring that along with me next time, and I'll just show you kind of what I have and the knowledge that they expected me throughout boot camp, not just pre-boot camp. And some people are like really historians. They enjoy that stuff. I'm not a big war history guy. Again, I just joined to say thank you, and I'm really glad I picked the Marines, because then I joined the Army after, and I didn't have to go to their boot camp. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, learn your general orders, rank structure. I learned the Marine Corps hymn, from the halls of, that song. And then that'll just eliminate a lot of stress. So that's one less thing that you're gonna have to worry about. And if they ever call on somebody like, hey, does anybody know this, and you do it right away, boom, you're like, you could be the guide, the platoon guide or something like that, and you could get like special privileges, and you get to hold the guide on. And I don't know now, but back then they weren't giving out blues, but the platoon guide would get the dress blues. So grooming standards, start practicing good hygiene, and learn how to clean yourself, because you're going to be inspected. Your fingernails are going to be inspected constantly every night. Your face, your shaving, the hairs in your nose, the hairs in your ears, like everything about you is going to be inspected from top to bottom, your whole body. If you're gaining weight, they're going to call it out. If you're losing weight, they're going to call it out in a good way, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of ways they can mess with you. So the idea is to eliminate that and just focus on good training, right? So final prep. Get it the night before. You're gonna go eat whatever you want to eat, like that you really like. It doesn't have to be, I'm saying, a bad thing. Go eat cake, whatever you like, because you're not going to be eating anything really good for 13 weeks. After 13 weeks, you'll finish the crucible. Then you get the Eagle Globe and Anchor. You're considered a Marine because you're a recruit through the whole time. Then you have the Warrior's Breakfast, which is basically everything, and it's amazing. And you've been not eating, your stomach's kind of shrunk, and for the last 3 days, I think if it's still like 56 hours, you had one MRE split between that time, and those aren't satisfying. I don't know what they use now, but um, you go in there and you just go like, oh god, you go nuts. So have a good meal the night before, talk to all your buddies, say goodbye, say, love you, all that stuff. And then I guess you're shipping out, so I conclude a ship out. Make sure you take a really good dump before you get on the bus from the USO in San Diego to MCRD. um it just becomes from then on you're asking for permission to go to do anything. So, and I don't know how where Paris Island, where they pick you up, if it's in Raleigh or where you take the bus from, but yeah. It's pretty funny to watch when they pick everybody up. um One of the important things is, like, the guy, before I went, I was staying in a hotel the night before. I was in Phoenix, and they put us up in this hotel on Van Buren, which is now kind of like a homeless shelter thingy or whatever. Back then, I think it was like a Quality Inn or whatever, and that's where all the hookers kind of walk up and down. I guess they've kind of moved somewhere else now, but I don't know. Um, I never look at the street names when I'm there. Just kidding. So, yeah, I'm talking into the and so I was roomed up with this guy. They just assign you rooms, and he was in there, and his girlfriend came to say goodbye. And he goes, "Oh, I'll be right back," and he never came back. He left his shit there and everything. Like, I could have totally had his wallet and stuff, but I handed it into the front. Just didn't come back all night. I'm like, that's so strange. Like, here you committed to this thing and you ran away so much, you left your wallet, and you didn't want to tell me. Like, I didn't know him, but I was just like, what a puss. So get on um the plane or the bus and say, "Hey, this guy didn't show up." And they're like, "Well, why'd you let him leave?" I'm like, "I'm not his fucking babysitter. Jesus Christ, the babysitting already starts. I haven't even fucking got to boot camp yet." So there's a thing called failure to adapt. I know it's a movie, but it's also a thing in the military where basically the first 180 days is like a trial. You can leave. Now they're not going to make it easy, and they're going to threaten you. We had people like being threatened with court martials, and they made a spectacle of them because they refused to train. They just stopped training. They wouldn't do push-ups because they were getting picked on all the time because they were shitty fucking recruits. They were fat, they were slow, they couldn't listen, they were rebellious, had attitudes like, no one's gonna tell me what to do, kind of bullshit. Like, it was insane. It was insane. And I had trouble with one of them later on in a Camp Lejeune. Um, so they brought the whole, like in our barracks, you had 6 platoons, 3 levels, you know, on each side, and they brought everybody out and they handcuffed these guys, and the MPs come and they handcuffed them, made a big spectacle because they wanted to scare everybody. And they're like, "You cannot leave. You signed a contract. You'll get a dishonorable blah blah blah." And I don't really know why they're allowed to lie because that's a total bullshit. Um, just like saying, "Hey, you should talk like invert it, like you made a commitment to the not just to the Marines, but to yourself, to your family. Like, why are you here if you're not willing to do this? Blah blah blah." Like, feed on that kind of thing, like a pride thing, not a fear thing, in my opinion. So they'll do that, but the truth is that you can get an administrative discharge. Um, and does not impact your long-term records. So you're not going to get benefits because you didn't, serve. But it's a process that's there. So, like, if you find yourself in there and just whatever reason, it's just not good for you. Honestly, it's not good for the Marines for you to be there if you don't want to be there. If you're just gonna, suck taxpayer money and not give a full effort, then don't go, and you can get out. And so you look it up, failure to adapt. You'll get a uncharacterized ELS within 180 days. I have a story. because I have lots. It's just my stories, right? I have a friend who, after I think I was still in the Marines active, he decided he wanted to join the army, and I think he was going to join like counter intel. He would have been at Fort Huachuca, and I think just part time. What do they call that? The reserves or whatever. So he went off, shipped off to boot camp. Totally fit guy, like, mindset's fine. Well, I guess it wasn't. And then I get phone calls. I get a phone call, and he's at boot camp, and he's not doing well, and he's gone AWOL. But they let you keep your wallet there, so he was able to. I'm not going to give all the information because I don't want to embarrass him if he ever saw this. But the fact is, he was able to get home, and because I was like, yeah, just go home, or maybe it won't be so bad. Give us some time. I can't honestly, I don't remember the whole thing, but he did do that, and then he came home, and I hooked up with him and saw him, talk to him about it, and blah blah blah. And what he had to do is he had to go back to the base. I can't remember which fort it was or whatever, but he just had to process out. So just, the administrative discharge part had to happen. And there was also a guy there from like Vietnam, era. And he had gone AWOL or whatever, and then just disappeared, and just recently got pulled over for a traffic infraction and found this out. So he was there, and he was like a grandpa. And so they had people on working parties, but they didn't really give him any hard time, but they just had to discharge him, and they didn't give him trouble. So it's there, like, it's not as scary as they want you to think it is, especially in the first time. I mean, even that old guy, like that, what are they going to do? Put him in the brig? I mean, that's insane. But weirder things have happened, so I'm not saying it's impossible that it wouldn't happen, but it's you can get out. So if you need to get out, get out. Um and know you have that. You have like, I'm not made for this. But I really think, like, get through boot camp, because that's only 13 weeks. You still got some time. Get through the hard part. Some people would pay to do that shit. You get to do a lot of really cool stuff. And if you're not a retard, you're not going to get yelled at. So go for it. And then if you get into the fleet and you're like, man, I just, I miss my whatever, my dog. So, okay. And then I think that's it. Any questions? Now I'll go to the screen, see if there's anybody here. Not a person. Oh, maybe somebody. Okay, well, that's all. Hope that helps anybody. You can leave, I guess, I don't know if you can leave questions or not, in the comments. And I'll check every now and then. I don't go on this page a whole lot, but I wanted to put that out there, and maybe I'll put it in shorts and have little tip 1, tip 2, tip 3. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good night or day or whatever.